So you could say Universal dropped some pretty big news in the month of August, as they announced a brand new theme park coming out, and it's one of the biggest I have ever seen, which is going to be called Universal's Epic Universe. As this area has 5 different sections at the moment that we could consider sections, or at least I am. As you have the center area, Nintendo, Monsters, Fantastic Beasts, and How to Train Your Dragon. So let's get started with the center area, or at least the shops and food for the center area, as that's mainly what this area is going to be. And they're also going to have like a little bit more like smaller rides, maybe like a carousel. We don't really know. We couldn't tell much from the concept art. There definitely looked like there was a restaurant though in between Nintendo and the Monsters, like a big restaurant on the left side there. But we don't know that much of this area yet. Then we've got Nintendo, which of course is having Super Nintendo World. With Nintendo is opening lands also in Japan, Hollywood, and Singapore, and this appears to be the only land that will not be unique to Epic Universe at the moment, and will feature at least 3 tracks to begin with, as well as some interactive play areas and character meet and greet stages. As the 3 attractions right now at the moment are Mario Kart, Yoshi's Adventure, and the Donkey Kong Minecart Madness roller coaster. Because you know, it has to be a long name for a roller coaster for Universal. But first we'll get off the Mario Kart, as this is easily the biggest Nintendo attraction that will be happening, as it is going to be a complete new experience, and it's going to be the most immersive and cutting edge technological attraction that Universal has possibly imagined. Not much else is really known officially, but this unique dark ride is expected to feature 2 tracks that run side by side so that it feels like you're racing the other car, and riders will pass through many different settings during the ride, all based on racetracks from the video game series, including Rainbow Road, of course, the most famous of them all. Along the way, there will be popular Nintendo characters and other cars that drive up beside you, as this ride will focus heavily on real sets and physical characters to tell the story. But it will also feature some new technology to help create the illusion of high speeds, even though the ride may be moving very slowly. It has also been talked about that they may end up using AR on this ride, which sounds so cool, and I honestly can't wait to see this come to life, as more than likely we will see some POV from Japan first, and probably California as well. Then we have Yoshi, as this family attraction ride will allow you to take a ride on a Yoshi for your own adventure through the Mushroom Kingdom, as it will take place both inside and outside, with views looking out over the land. While adding some kinetic energy to the area, the Yoshi ride will be an Omni-Mover style attraction, meaning the ride vehicles will always be moving in a long continuous loop around the track. Throughout the ride, we will encounter popular characters and settings from over 3 decades of Yoshi and Mario related video games. There are rumored to be over 40 different animatronics, moving figures, and animated objects, both on the Yoshi ride and the above show building. Everything from bad guys like Koopa Troopas, Goombas, to Yoshi game characters like Baby Mario and Baby Yoshis will be found on this ride. The track layout also gives you a good idea of how the ride may be laid out, with the Yoshi ride vehicles moving at a slow pace, as the ride may actually be longer than it really appears. And with rumored interactive elements, this may be a great attraction for children too small or too young to ride the other rides in the land. And finally, we have Donkey Kong Ride, because no one's pronouncing that roller coaster's long name, just like Hagrid's ride. As this is the final ride in the land that we know about for Super Nintendo World. And this is a roller coaster based on the Donkey Kong Country games. Just like in the video games, the ride will have us riding in a minecart, And just like in the games, there will be segments of track where a kart will look as though it's jumping over gaps, which Universal is figuring out how to do right now. And the Donkey Kong coaster called Minecart Madness in the model will be partially outside as well, featuring some inside seats to go with it. And we can see that the main entrance is a temple with the minecart jumping track right at the top of the temple, above a waterfall feature. And some other things that we somewhat know about, or guessing on, we could say, is they have a building which we completely just don't know what it is yet. And a lot of people are speculating it is going to be the Super Smash Bros. Show, which I guess we could see happen, but I have no clue what it really could be. So we'll just have to wait and see. Also, there is a big expansion plot that has been noted that it is for Nintendo. So with this entire expansion plot right next door to it, we could really just see the land double in size in years following the park's opening. As really one of the most talked about expansions that could come is a land based on Pokemon, as that was also rumored to come to Kids Zone, but it just didn't happen, and it seems like everything from Kids Zone is coming to Epic Universe. But we will just have to wait and see if we learn anything that could be possibly coming in years after the release of the park. Which I think, if it happened, we are definitely getting a Pikachu Lightning Run coaster, because that'd be so cool, even though they probably added some weird other name to go with the coaster. Then, in the back left section of the park, next to the hotel, there is the Monsters area, which will feature rides and attractions starting the Universal Classic Monsters, from characters like Dracula, Frankenstein, the Invisible Man, Wolfman, and many more. And from the concept art, it appears that the area is themed like an old European village, similar to the settings in the original Dracula and Frankenstein films. And the centerpiece icon at the back of the land appears to be Dracula's castle, modeled after the original 1931 classic film, rising above the land in the background. It is expected that the land will be based on the original designs and aesthetics of the classic films, and not any of the recent Dark Universe reboot attempts that have mostly flopped, as it would definitely help if they did the classics more and help the rides and attractions feel timeless compared to the reboots. And this land is rumored to contain at least 2 attractions, a high-tech dark ride and a walkthrough attraction of some type or some type of show. This land also includes a small expansion pad that may allow for another attraction to be added at a later time. So with the dark ride, we have rumors currently that it seems to be the main attraction for the land, which will be sort of a best of Haunted Mansion type ride featuring all of the Universal classic monsters. And a second attraction has been rumored for the area, but not much is known about it. But it is possible we could see a walkthrough attraction based on the story of Frankenstein's monster. And it could be like the walkthrough attraction, Poseidon's Fury at Islands of Adventure. Hopefully with it working all the time, because Poseidon does shut down quite often. And if this does happen, I could easily see it becoming the best ride in the park. And then of course, we've got this theater looking thing, which maybe could feature a show like Waterworld, or it could just be a fill-in, who knows. And then with the expansion, some other attraction we could see, or I would like to see fill the expansion, would be a wooden coaster themed to the werewolf man himself, as this can make a great ride out there in the woods, and just would be 10 times better at night. Then going across, you have that giant hotel, which in the meantime we really don't know much about at all, and this really is the first hotel as many that we could see, as it is showing off a very grand style, semi-curved building structure that can be 8 to 10 stories in height, and the exterior also appears highly themed, as it should be, as it will be seen in the background constantly by guests as they enter the resort and stroll through the central hub area. Then we've got Fantastic Beasts, as the land itself is rumored to be themed after the streets of Paris as seen in the latest Fantastic Beasts film. With Universal already having lands based on New York and Potter's London, it will be interesting to have an entirely new local recreated, especially one taking place in the 1920s. The Paris streets seen in the concept art lead to a massive show building, mostly hidden by the fireworks, of course, and the exterior streets serve mainly as an entryway to the actual land, which is almost entirely indoors. Which, going indoors, I think is where the Universal team could get creative and have us step into the world of Fantastic Beasts and just have interactive elements with the beasts all around the indoor part. And with this land, we will more than likely see two rides, one to the creatures and the other to the Ministry of Magic, as those two just make so much sense for the land. And we will kick it off with the Ministry, as more than likely we will use Blue Powder to travel to different ministries that we visit in the movies. So like different ministries in different cities. And as Universal is working hard to make this come to life, I am sure they will find a way to make this work and make it as cool as possible. Then we've got Newt's Creatures, as this could be the drop ride in the park. And take us on a thrilling adventure throughout the city. I really think this could be the star attraction here. But both these rides will be absolutely fantastic if they come true. Then our last land is based on Isle of Berk from How to Train Your Dragons, as this land will be themed like a Viking village with cliffs and rock work surrounding the area, and Viking structures surrounding a large water feature in the middle, and this land seems to have the most open area according to concept art, and is not layered or indoors like the other lands. Also, the land will include two major attractions, but there will be several smaller rides and attractions sprinkled throughout as well, offering more for smaller kids and the majority of the other areas of the park. As How to Train Your Dragon even looks to offer a kids' play area up against the back of the land. There are other kiddie rides we think as well, but at the moment it is just too hard to tell. And another flat ride that appears to be in the concept art is the Gershwiner Skyfly ride. There also seems to be some type of boat ride in part of the land's lagoon, and many are speculating it could be Flash Battle interactive boat ride. Then onto the major attractions, as one of them, which you can easily see in the concept art, and instead be a long family roller coaster, almost like Hagrid's, as this coaster will likely take place mostly close to the ground and will be very long. Unlike the Hagrid coaster, this ride is expected to be at least somewhat more family friendly. And according to both the concept art and the development plans, How to Train Your Dragon Land will feature a second large show building, and this one is somewhat tall, leading many to assume that it will be a flying theater attraction, as this one would pretty much be Universal's take on Flight of Passage, but themed to How to Train Your Dragon. So we really have to wait and see how this one turns out. Then, of course, we have that little spacey area, which features the coaster, as one element that is in the plans as well as the concept art is the massive dueling launch roller coaster, and this high-speed thrill ride looks to have two tracks that run parallel to each other for the entire ride, so that your train appears to be racing against the other one. As with the other hub attraction, this coaster may not be based on IP. Instead, it may be an original idea with its very own story. And this coaster looks like it has direct access to the hub, so it would be a lot easier to access it. Then there's this weird looking planetarium right next to it, but who knows, this could easily just be the entrance or exit for it, with the queue/exit going underground and is not being able to see. Then, of course, it's a new theme park, but there's gonna be more coming to it in future years, as we already talked about one of those being Nintendo, and the second expansion could literally be anything, from another DreamWorks property to a completely new franchise, or a complete original land idea. But who knows? We will have to wait and see. And also, it's good to remember that this is still all concept art, and all of it could be really bogus, and we are just speculating because why not? But of course, leave your thoughts and predictions of what you think is coming down below, and also leave a suggestion for a new video down in the comments below, and who knows, your suggestion may just be in the next video. Thanks for watching, everybody, and of course, make sure you're weaving through every day just like it's your last.